各位贵宾午安，我是史前馆的代理馆长，也是副馆长，也是代理研究领航组组长3合1的代表人。那我在这里非常感谢大家来参加这一场期待已久的讲座活动。那活动一开始，我们先以热烈的掌声来欢迎Tua Pittman。是一名受人敬重的传统领航员，凭借着对星象、海浪、海鸟等大自然的观察，不厌现代的仪器，以波利尼西亚传统领航知识进行远航。他也参与了夏威夷、库克群岛、大溪地等地的航海及的实践与传承。所以我相信今天的演讲内容，一定能够带给我们许多的启示。那另外我也要谢谢特别谢谢 Helen Scott。Helen Scott， Helen 是夏威夷卡美哈学校发展台湾关系的研究员。那他今天担任我们整场讲座活动的翻译，那也是促成这一场演讲的重要人士。谢谢 Helen。那对于在今年5月19号才刚重新开馆的史前馆而言，办理这一场讲座，我们非常荣幸邀请到Tua还有 Helen 跟整个的团队到史前馆来演讲。那除了延伸史前馆南岛町的南岛世界南岛的展示核心理念之外，它也标志着史前馆对于南岛文化研发计划的努力，我觉得特别具有意义。那位处太平洋的台湾一直是人类迁徙与文化发展的重要节点，海洋上成千上万的岛屿是南岛族群分布的范围，更是披荡我们共同生活在一起的家园。透过今天的讲座，我们除了关注南岛多样化的文化实践之外，那也在这些行动当中发现自己可以与自己相互呼应的这个连结，让我们转换既有的思维，感受南岛族群的视野，那重新找回探索的勇气。从此欢迎大家常常来史前馆，也给予史前馆指导还有支持跟鼓励。那在这里祝福各位平安健康，谢谢。
我们已经有一点点迟了，但真的很感谢大家在一个礼拜3的下午来史前馆听这场讲座。那讲座在开始之前，就在座有好多很特别的团体，就是因为这个场合，我觉得除了是跟Tua的学习之外，很重要的也是台东这个社群的交流。所以我这边有的资料可以念一下，就是现场有的团体有包括猎人学校，然后对猎人学校，然后长滨船团，这都是过去这一周Tua在台东很交流的对象。那还有很多团体，像是星空阿光老师的团队，就是星空小水的，然后也有很多有师大的老师，有台大的老师，我可能还会漏掉很多，真的很抱歉。还有那个帆船学校的伙伴也有在这边，然后台东 POCC 就是大洋芝加哥在台东的协会，那更多大家等一下就自己想办法互相交流。海委会，对，还有海委会的老师的副主委，对，那所有漏掉的，还有不管星空的伙伴，就是我觉得今天这场合会这么就是大家会这么热情的来参加，就是我们都在想办法用自己有的 学习的方式在更接触海洋，然后那是我们要重新学习的一块。然后这也是史前馆我们在跟南岛厅策展的时候，其实我们知道好重要，好重要，但是也清楚知道我们知道的好少。所以其实史前馆要重新开馆了，我们还有很长的一段路要好好的学习。那大家都是我们学习的对象。那我如果有漏掉，大概还漏掉了那个台中县政府很重要的伙伴，然后这边有文化处的伙伴，对，处长也会来，然后科长也在，对，所以大家都是这件事情就是最重要的游戏参与者，所以希望大家可以有更多的交流在今天的场合。那在这个邀请Tua正式开始之前，有一个很特别的团体，然后他们准备了一个夏威夷的仪式，想要献给Tua。在这个仪式之后，我们就正式开始。出席我们今天 Mr. Tua Pittman 的演讲。那他个人的话也是非常兴奋的来到他的Mother Island， 就是他好像祖国一样的这样子的一个岛屿。那我本身呢是夏威夷原住民学校卡梅亚学校的驻台代表。那如果说我们在夏威夷的话，波利尼西亚人都会认为台湾是他们的Motherland， 就是 Mother Island， 所以他对台湾呢一直都有特别的情绪。那其实他觉得他自己很荣耀，能够今天来到 Mother Island 台湾，所以我们欢迎 Mr. Tua Pittman。
你好。That introduction, the chant I just gave, was a request from me to your ancestors to be allowed to speak today. And they responded by making me cough.
这是我们库克群岛的语言，就是我要求你们的祖先，我可以在这里跟你们演讲，那也是我刚刚咳嗽的原因。
It's so humbling for me to be here today before you.
我真的不敢相信，我今天来到了这里来跟你们演讲。
Myself and Jennifer, we came to Taiwan to learn.
我们这边几位还有 还有特别来宾是加拿大籍的作家 Jenny， 那 Jenny 跟 Tua 都是来台湾学习的。
Because I have been involved with my culture for many, many years, learning the way of our ancestors, trying to find out our lost art of navigation.
我已经学习我国家的传统文化非常多年了，我一直在寻找我们遗失的航海文化。
I learned from some very, very special people from all over Polynesia.
所以我从各个波利尼西亚的国家，我都有向不同的人物学习。
And all over the Pacific.
然后所有太平洋里面的岛屿，我都有跟他们学习。
And I come to Taiwan to learn more.
我现在来台湾，我想要学习更多。
Because at some stage during our lifetime and the lifetime of our ancestors, we lost a lot of our culture.
所以我们遗失了很多我们祖先的文化。
So I'd like to share with you what I've been doing, who I am, and hopefully after this visit, who I would like to be in terms of being a man of the Pacific.
所以我现在想跟你分享，是我从哪里来，我学习过什么，然后我这次的拜访台湾之后呢，希望我能够变成什么样的太平洋里面的人。
I would like to thank the museum for inviting me to be here and for having me here. I walked around this museum this morning and my mind is so full now, and I thought I knew a lot.
所以我要谢谢史前馆的邀请，我今天可以来到这里。今天早上我参观了这个史前馆，我现在的脑中就是有非常多吸收了非常多的知识。
You have a treasure.
你们真的有一个宝藏在这里。
And I'm just honored to be here today to be able to share with you.
这是我的荣耀，我今天可以来这边跟您分享。
Okay. Feel free at any time to ask questions, but at the end we can have some question and answer. So firstly, let me tell you who I am.
首先，我先告诉你我是怎样的人。
My full name is Teuatakiri Tua Pittman.
这是我的全名，就是像他刚刚讲的那样。
No, you have to say it.
就是像他刚刚讲的那样。I already said.
But everybody calls me Tua.
但大家都叫我 Tua。
My mother's mother, like my grandmother on my mother's side, is Tahitian Maori.
我的外婆是大溪地的毛利人。
My father's mother is New Zealand Maori.
所以我的奶奶是纽西兰的毛利人。
My grandfathers are Cook Island Maori.
我的祖父跟外公都是库克群岛的毛利人。
So Maori means indigenous person of that place.
毛利的意思就是当地的原住民。
Which makes me a cocktail fruit salad Polynesian.
所以它是一个鸡尾酒这样子，那个沙拉那个什锦水果的 Polynesian。
And this is the reason, because of my bloodline, it pushes me to learn more about who I am.
所以因为这样子的混合的血统呢，更给我动力呢，我想要学习我到底是什么人。
Because every one of these cultures is related by genealogy and by blood.
所以这些每一种血统呢，都是以家谱有 关联的，跟血统有关系的。
A genealogy that comes all the way back to Taiwan.
你这个家谱呢，可以追溯到台湾来。
I live comfortably in my place on this earth, but I live more if I know my past and where I came from.
所以我是一个很舒服，可以过我现在生活的人，但是我能够学到我的过去的话，我会更高兴。
So where is the Cook Islands? Cook Islands is right here on the map.
这就是库克群岛所在的地方。
My other ancestry is Tahitian, which is right here, Tahiti.
我还有另外一个祖国，就是大溪地，就在这里。
Aotearoa, New Zealand is here.
纽西兰在此。
And today I am right here in Taiwan.
今天我在这个岛屿台湾。
You know, in our chants and in our songs, in the people of Aotearoa, New Zealand, the people of Tahiti, the people of the Pacific, Polynesia, they always speak of a place called Tawahi.
在我们波利尼西亚还有我们大溪地里面的歌颂还有歌曲，我们总会提及一个地方叫做 Teuatakiri。
And through research, we found out that Tawahi for us is actually Taiwan.
所以不断的研究学习之后，我发现 Teuatakiri 其实是台湾。
Meaning the land on the other side of the sea.
所以这个台湾的意思就是在另外一边的那个岛屿。
So through the migration from Taiwan into Polynesia are these islands here. Hawaii in the north, Rapa Nui or Easter Island in the east, and Aotearoa in the south.
所以从台湾岛分出来的南岛语系的民族呢，一直到北边有夏威夷，到东边有复活节岛，到南边有Aotearoa。
And this is our Polynesian triangle.
这是我们的波利尼西亚三角。
So the migration came down from Taiwan through the Philippines, over the Bismarck, over Papua New Guinea into the Bismarck archipelago, and from here down through the Solomon Islands, through Vanuatu, and into Fiji, Samoa, and Tonga. But this happened over a period of about 4,000 years.
所以经历4000年了，从台湾出来的南岛语系的民族呢，从新几内亚，然后经过萨摩亚，然后到了秘籍。
And then from Samoa, the Polynesians were formed, and we went off into the Cook Islands, Tahiti, Hawaii, Rapa Nui, and lastly to Aotearoa, New Zealand.
所以从萨摩亚出来的南岛语系的，再继续往库克群岛去然后到了夏威夷，库克群岛，然后再到Aotearoa。
And we went back and we looked at our language, and we saw for the number one, what do you say for the number one?
数字的1怎么说？以南岛语系来话怎么说？
It's different in different languages, huh?
Yeah.
Sometimes is it Sisai? 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 Yeah, for us it's Tai. 2? Rua for us. 3? Tonu for us. 4? We say A or Ha. Lima is 5 or hand. Yeah? Tail. Or iku. We say iku for tail. Eye is mata. Hand is lima. What about to cry? Tangi. For us it's tangi. So the language, what about the lice in your hair? Kutu. Kutu, uku. The lice. The little animal that crawls around uku in Hawaii, kutu in the Cook Islands, kutu in Tahiti. So the language similarity is very close, very the same. So the Austronesian people, Austronesian speaking people, were ones that voyaged from Taiwan into the Philippine area, down into Indonesia, but they were going back and forth, back and forth. This is why the language is similar. And those that wanted to venture on, they ventured on into the Pacific.
所以从台湾出发的南岛语系呢，为什么我们的语言会这么相近呢？他就带着他的南岛的语言出发，然后到我们的菲律宾，然后到印尼，然后他会来回的航行，然后再进入我们的太平洋其他的岛屿到波利尼西亚去。
And then because we have Tawahi and that travel, our ancestors took our names with us everywhere they went.
因为从塔瓦提出发的这些我们的祖先呢，他把这些岛屿的名字都跟着他带走。
In Samoa, there's an island very close by called Savai'i.
在萨摩亚群岛有。
So you have Tawahi, you have Hawaii, you have Savai'i. In French Polynesia, there's an island called Raiatea. The old name for Raiatea is Hawaii.
在法属波利尼西亚群岛也有一个岛屿，它的旧名就叫做 Hawaii。
So the language is very, very similar right throughout, from Madagascar all the way to Easter Island, up to Hawaii, and down to New Zealand. A very, very common language called Austronesia.
所以我们所分享的是南岛的语系，这些南岛的语。
1200 languages.
一共1200不同的南岛语。
1/5 of the world's population.
全世界语言的1/5。
So, if you have a look at this picture here, the ocean is so big, and our people, when I say our people voyaged out on this ocean on voyaging canoes like this. This is the voyaging canoe that I use on my island. This is on the island of Rarotonga in the Cook Islands.
这是我在库克群岛上航行的船只。
72 feet long,
72尺长，
26 feet across,
宽26尺，
propelled by the wind.
是帆船以风航行的。
We can carry up to 20 crew members on board.
我们可以带20个船员。
And we use this platform as our classroom.
所以这个是我们的教育的平台。
So we educate the next generation.
在这个船上，我教导下一代。
This is my island of Rarotonga where I live, and the ocean is our playground.
这是我所居住的岛屿，叫做 Rarotonga。那个海洋是我们的游乐场。
So I've been doing this for almost 45 years.
我已经在做这样子的事情，已经45年了。
In 1985, this voyaging canoe from Hawaii, called Hokulea, arrived to my island.
1985年呢，这艘夏威夷的船只叫 Hokulea 来到库克群岛。
And they were retracing this lost knowledge of navigation.
所以他们那个时候正在复振这个已经遗失的这个航海文化。
And learning how to sail these types of craft again.
所以他们也是在学习如何航行这个船只。
And when they started, they made mistakes.
他们刚开始都会犯很多的错误。
But if you don't make mistakes, how are you going to learn?
如果你不犯错的话，你怎么能够达成你的目标呢？
I've heard so many stories and songs about traditional navigation, about voyaging, about the navigator.
我听过很多不同的故事、歌曲，都是有关于传统航海文化跟航海家的故事。
About the different voyaging canoes right throughout the Pacific.
有关于各种不同的船只，这些canoes 航行在太平洋的船只。
Our people were adventurous. They wanted to explore. They wanted to see what was beyond the horizon.
我们这些我们的南岛语系的族人呢，是非常有探险的精神，他想要看看这个海洋后面还有什么东西。
Yes, there were those that stayed behind, but there were those who kept on traveling towards the rising sun.
没有错，有些人是留海流经在这些岛屿上，但是我们还有一些人在继续航行，往着这个日落的方向再继续进行。
And as a young man, I was fascinated by this.
所以当我年轻的时候，我非常着迷。
And in our islands in Polynesia, we had a navigator by the name of Teuatakiri.
在波利尼西亚文化里面，有一个航海家，他叫做 Teuatakiri。
He was born in around the 1700s.
Teuatakiri 出生的时候是大概1700年代的时候。
And he had spent many years with his grandparents, understanding nature, the science of nature.
他与他的祖父母花了很多的时间，很多年的时间学习这个传统的航海文化。
And he spent time on this marae, this sacred ground, Teuatakiri.
这是我们神圣的这个祭拜的地方，叫 Teuatakiri，
where he would meet with navigators from the region and share the secrets of the skies.
这是航海家会在这里见面的地方，他们会互相分享这些秘密。
And like all our ancestors, we had our gods.
我们有我们自己的神，
Gods of the sea, gods of the forest, gods of the animals, gods of love, gods of war.
有海神，有森林的神，有动物的神，有战神，有各种不同的神。
During Teuatakiri's time, Captain Cook and Captain Wallace came to French Polynesia because they wanted to find islands in the Pacific.
所以当Teuatakiri 这个年代，1700年代呢，就有两位这个船长来到库克群岛，就是 Wallace 还有那个库克船长。
They found Teuatakiri.
所以他找到了 Teuatakiri。
And they asked Teuatakiri if he could show them the way.
所以他问他们这两位船长就问 Teuatakiri 可不可以带领他们。
Because they heard he knew where the islands were.
因为他们这两位船长听说 Teuatakiri 知道岛屿在哪里。
And he had traveled to these islands many times.
然后 Teuatakiri 曾经到过这些岛屿。
And they didn't know where they were.
那这些船长他不知道这些岛屿在哪里。
But Teuatakiri used the stars. He opened his eyes to the heaven, and he used the waves, and he used the wind to guide them to islands that these gentlemen had never seen before in their life.
所以 Teuatakiri 就带领这些船长呢，用天文的星星，然后还有海洋，还有风，就去寻找到这些岛屿。
But when they got there, they told the world that they discovered it.
当他们到了那个岛屿的时候，这些船长告诉 Teuatakiri 说：“是我们找到的。”
It doesn't matter that when they got there, canoes were coming out to greet them. It doesn't matter that the canoes were coming out to meet Captain Cook when they got there. The people on the island.
那边岛屿上已经有人了，已经要来就是来跟库克船长打招呼了。
But to the world, they discovered the island.
所以，但是世界上的人以为说是库克船长找到这些岛屿。
So I made it my responsibility to learn these skies.
所以这是他自己觉得他是有这个责任来学习这些故事。
And these two gentlemen, Mao Piairo from Satawal, Micronesia, and Naino Thompson from New Valley, Hawaii, together taught a group of young men how to navigate on a traditional voyaging canoe.
所以这两位是教导传统航海技术非常重要的人。左边这位叫做 lingkiw， 然后右边是 Thompson。Thompson 是夏威夷人，Mao 是从一个小岛叫沙特瓦小岛来的。
Mao had a star compass.
Mao 的天文罗盘。
Each one of these shells on the star compass represents a bright star in the night sky.
所以这其中每一个贝壳都是天空里面的一个星星。
The stars would rise in the east and set in the west.
星星从东方起，rise， 然后从西方下去。
And he would, along with his ancestors, memorize where the stars rise from and where they set on this star compass.
所以猫跟他的祖先呢，就会熟记住这个星星是从天空的哪一个方向升起，从哪一个方向降落。
We have to memorize all the planets.
我们要把所有的这些行星通通记起来。
The rising and setting of the sun.
还有太阳从哪里升起，哪里降落。
Understanding the color of what the color of the sun is doing for you to determine weather.
所以看到这个太阳的颜色，我们就可以知道天候会如何。
Remembering the constellations in the night sky, we have to remember from about 150 to 200 stars in the night sky. Memorize them, where they rise from and where they set.
所以天空里面有150到200个星星，我们通通都要记起来，它从哪一个方向升起，哪一个方向降落。
Southern Cross.
Southern Cross is 南十之星。There you go.
And Scorpio, Tematawa Maui. We call it Maui's fish hook. What do you call it here?
所以那个天蝎座
What's
的鱼钩，我们
the name of the scorpion?
天蝎座。
Okay.
这是我们的鱼钩。
It's the other way around. And then, of course, the Big Dipper, the North Star, Orion's Belt, and your star for Taiwan, we call it Matariki.
我们台湾的星星呢，在这上面就叫做马卡基蒂。
Yes. I was surprised when we went on the boat the other day and Aqua told me that Matariki was the zenith star of Taiwan.
所以他很惊讶，但是前几天我们上了一艘船，那阿光老师告诉我们说，我们的 zenith 那个上方是马卡基蒂。
See, I learn every day.
我每天都有在学习新的事物。
And of course, understanding where these stars are pointing to, what direction, where they came from on the horizon, and where they're going.
所以当然也要知道星星从哪一个方位升起，哪一个方位下降。
And again, the Milky Way, which is a very, very important pointer for the navigator.
这个 Milky Way 呢是非常重要的一个观察的东西。
In the Cook Islands, we have our star compass as well.
这是我们库克群岛的星空罗盘。
Each one of those names or names of each one of those names is a house.
所以每一个星星的名字都是一个星 house。
On this side here is the east. On this side here is the west.
这是东边。
If a star rises here in this house, it will set in this house.
所以如果从这个星 house star house 上升的话，那就从这个 star house 下来。
If it rises here, it will set here.
如果从这边升起的话，就会从另外一边下降。
So this line down the middle of the star compass, this side is a reflection of that side, or this side is a reflection of this side.
所以这个中间这个分歧点呢，右边跟左边是对应的。
If a star rises here, it will never set here.
所以这个蓝色星星从这里上升，绝对不会从这个蓝色这边下降。
It will set in the same house on the opposite side of the star compass.
所以应该是从对应的另外一边star house 下去。
So if you use the canoe, and in your mind you put the star compass around you on the horizon.
所以当你在航行的时候，你会把这个星空罗盘放在这个地平线上。
In this photo here, in this display, the canoe is heading north.
所以这艘船呢，目前是往北航行中。
So it's heading north. The North Star will be in front of the canoe. The Southern Cross will be behind the canoe. Orion's belt rises in the east, goes over the canoe, and sets in the west.
所以你往北去的话，那北极星在你面前，南边在后面，在 what's on the right side?
On the top is the North Star.
North Star, yeah.
Behind is the Southern Cross.
Southern Cross.
And on the eastern side is Orion.
Orion 在右边，在东边，那它会从西边下降。
So, if during the night a cloud covers and then opens again, and Southern Cross is in the front of the canoe, you're going the wrong way.
所以如果在航行当中的话呢，这个天后变成很多乌云乌密度，然后等这个乌云散了以后呢，南十字星在你面前，那你就错了，你的方向就错误了。
So you turn the canoe around until Southern Cross is behind you and the North Star is back in front of you.
所以我必须要重新设定我们的方向，北极星在前面，南十字星在后面。
So those are the bright stars in the night sky, but every other house has a star rising and setting, and we have to memorize those.
所以这些是比较亮的星星，那其他的 star house 里面的星星我们都要记住。
So if a cloud comes and covers one part of the star compass, we can look to another side.
所以如果有乌云从前面来的某一个方向的话，我们要必须看其他的 star house。
From here to here, that distance, for me, is one handspan.
所以从那两个星星star house 的距离呢，对他来讲，用他的手来量的话是这个距离。
So I can measure the star compass on the horizon.
所以它可以从这个水平线上量这个星星的 house。
So I can determine where the stars are coming from, to which house.
所以它可以知道这个星星从哪个方向闪上来，然后是哪一个 star house。
And I can also measure from the horizon up to a star to see how high it is.
然后它也可以从海平面量这个从海平面到那个星星是几个这个它的这个度。
Because we learnt this culture, we were able to sail voyaging canoes and go and find islands.
我们学习这个技术呢，我们要去找的是岛屿。
And because we were able to find islands, more voyaging societies from different islands were able to build canoes.
所以因为我们不断的寻找我们的岛屿，那更多的岛屿呢也开始有不同的船只了。
In 2012, we took 7 canoes from 10 ethnic Pacific cultures.
所以2012年的时候，我们聚集了 7艘这个船只，从10个不同的太平洋的文化。
Canoes representing all of these islands: Cook Islands, Samoa, Fiji, Tahiti, and so forth.
所以这些岛屿呢，库克群岛、萨摩亚、斐济等等的岛屿都有可以代表。
And the idea for this voyage was to relearn our culture of voyaging, to do long-distance sailing, and to connect the communities of the Pacific.
为什么我们会做这件事情呢？就是我们要连接我们的文化，我们要做一个远洋的长距离的航行，然后我们要学到我们遗失的海洋文化。
And to highlight the issues and the problems of our ocean environment.
所以我们也希望大家能重视我们海洋文化里面的所有的问题。
And although we were from different islands, we were one family, one voice.
所以虽然我们是不同岛屿来的，我们都是一家人，我们有同样的声音。
And we started in New Zealand and went up to French Polynesia, and this is the course we took over a 2-year period.
这是我们2012年的航行的路线，从纽西兰出发，然后往北走，那花了大概2年的时间来航行。
2 years sailing with a young group of crew members ranging from the age of 15 to the age of 65.
所以我们花2年的时间呢，我们的船员是15到65岁的船员。
So you still got a chance, Eddie.
Eddie， 你还可以来跟我们一起航行吧
100 crew members on 7 canoes over a period of 2 years, and we were able to go out and sail the Pacific Ocean, meeting up with different creatures along the way and understanding what is happening to our ocean environment.
所以大概有经历过100个船员，然后2年的时间，然后我们认识了我们海洋文化，我们遇见了我们海洋里面很多的不同的生物。
And like anything, in any culture or any sport or any activity, we need to eat.
所以就是各种的活动啊，不同的文化啊，我们就是在做运动体育的时候，我们都需要吃东西。
So we would fish, we would catch different varieties of fish, but we would only catch enough fish to feed the crew for that evening because we didn't have refrigeration.
我们会去捕鱼，但是我们就捕足够的鱼，我们的船员够吃就好，因为我们根本就没有冰箱。
As soon as we catch the fish, we would chop it up, and we have so many different types of dishes: sashimi, fried fish, dried fish, with all the different sauces that you have here from Taiwan. We had that too.
所以我们捕到鱼的时候，我们就马上把它处理好，然后我们吃不同的料理，就是沙西米啊、生鱼片啊，或者我们可以就是快炒啊，但是我们也需要台湾来的这些不同的这个酱料，让它更好吃。
And we took our culture with us. It wasn't just about the sailing. It wasn't just about seeing the sights of the Pacific. It was about living our culture.
所以不是只有航海，然后不是只有来观光，我们还带着我们的文化出海。
So we took our songs with us.
所以我把我们的歌曲也带着。
Like many of our ancestral cultures, events were recorded in song and chant.
所以很多原住民的文化呢，都是以歌曲还有歌颂来记录的。
So whenever we reached an island, we would tell them who we are, recite our genealogy in song.
所以每到一个新的岛屿，我们就会告诉他们我们是谁，然后我们用歌曲来告诉他们的家谱。
And when you're sitting there with 7 different canoes, with 7 different islands, when the Samoans do their chant and the Tahitians do their chant, because they are reciting their genealogy, they find out that they are related.
所以，因为我们有7个不同岛屿的民族，那比如说萨摩亚跟大溪地的船员在讲他们的家谱的时候，他才发现他们原来是就是有亲属关系的。
Because in that genealogy, they find a common ancestor.
所以从这个家谱的歌唱中呢，他发现他们有共同的祖先。
And that's the joy of keeping that part of the culture alive.
所以这就是我们将我们的传统文化保持着的快乐。
So in our travels, we came across places like this in the United States of America, sailing underneath the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco.
所以我们也曾经到过美国的加州，这是旧金山大桥。
Coming from Polynesia, a lot of these young children on board these canoes had never left their islands before, and a traditional voyaging canoe brought them to this new land.
所以有很多的我们的年轻的小伙伴呢，他从来就没有离开过我们的这些的原住民的岛屿。那借由这个传统的船只呢，他到了这个大都市。
If we can do it now, I can guarantee that we did it before. Our ancestors did it before. Yes? If we can do this now in this day and age,
所以我们现在我们可以做这个事情，我相信我们的祖先以前也办得到。
one of our ancestors in this room did it before.
所以我们这个房子，这里面有我们的祖先，我们其中一个祖先曾经做过这样的事情。
And we got there and we saw the animals.
我们还看到了鲸鱼。
But on these trips, we also took our women with us.
这个船上也有带我们的女士去。
And we had women on all the voyaging canoes.
我们出海航行的时候都会带女士。
And then when we got to the island of Bora Bora in French Polynesia,
当我们到了法属波利尼西亚岛屿波瓦波瓦的时候呢，
we took all the women off the canoes and put them on one canoe.
所有的女士就下船，然后去了其中的某一艘船。
So that they can have the mother of their own, the power, the spirit of their own.
所以他们有自己的女性的力量，所以他们可以结合起来。
So they had a captain, a person on board who assumed the leadership role. We taught her the stars that would help her get from the island of Bora Bora to the Cook Islands.
所以她这个是女船长，所以她也学习了这个传统的航海技术。然后她在他们的协助之下呢，这艘船就从瓜瓜回到了库克群岛。
We let them lead the way,
他们当我们的领航员。
and they found the Cook Islands in 4 days.
所以他们就4天之内就找到了库克群岛。
And the family of the Va'a was proud.
所以我们这些船只的这些家人，我们都非常的骄傲。
And this is who we are.
这就是我们做的事情。
There has also been a voyage around the world. Up in the display here in this museum, there's a display showing the voyage of Hokulea.
在这个博物馆里也有这样子的展示，就是后布雷亚的航行。
That sailed around the world.
这是一个世界的巡礼。
That took 3 years.
这个世界巡礼花了13年的时间。
And it took this voyaging canoe to many, many communities.
那这个后布雷亚在这个世界巡礼呢，它到了非常多的不同的社区去。
And the idea was the canoe was sewing a lay of indigenous communities together.
所以这个想法呢，就是这个船它在航行当中呢，它正好在编织一个很美丽的画环，然后把我们这个不同的文化都串起来。
And it brought about a pride for the indigenous people of all these places.
所以让我们的原住民呢，这些岛屿里面的都得到了很多的荣耀。
Until Hokulea got back to Hawaii.
然后后来回到了夏威夷。
And 3 years later, they went again.
3年后呢，他们又再出发了。
And they were just in Alaska.
刚刚到阿拉斯加。
And in 2026, Hokulea will be here.
2026年呢，我们这艘好克雷亚船将会来到台湾。
And I'm hoping to be on it, yes.
我希望我能够在这艘船上，他来到台湾的时候。
And the reason why we have to come here
为什么我们今天要来到这里？我必须要来台湾。
is because this is our home.
因为这是我们的家。
And we need to come and see our family.
我们必须要来看我们的家人，就是你们。
Just a couple more slides here I would want to show you. About 40 years ago, on the left-hand side, a little bit younger, black hair.
这是40年前的照片，在左边，还有一点比较多的。
My very good friend, brother, Teuatakiri, we started voyaging on Hokule, and then eventually we built our own voyaging canoe, and eventually we became the master navigators under Maopiano.
我旁边这位是我的好兄弟，Teuatakiri。那我们就是开始是传统航海，然后我们上了Hokule，然后后来我们就建造我们自己的船只。
In the South Pacific there are 10 po, and from the Cook Islands there are 2. Yes. He and I are the po for the Cook Islands.
有2个从库克群岛有2位领航大师，那其中一位是Tua，另外就是他的好兄弟Teuatakiri。
And we run an educational foundation called Teuatakiri, meaning the fountain of knowledge.
这是我们所创建的有教育的基金会，叫做知识的泉源。
And this voyaging canoe is a classroom that we use to teach our children.
这艘船只就是我们教导我们小朋友的教室。
The canoe is named after one of our ancestors, a traditional navigator from way back.
这艘船的命名呢是根据我们的祖先的一位会懂得传统航海知识的一位祖先。
His name was Paikea.
他的名字叫Paikea。
And in the stories and in the songs and in the chants, Paikea rode on the back of a whale, and he went from island to island to island.
所以在我们的传统的歌颂里面呢，Paikea就是骑在一条鲸鱼上面，从不同的岛屿到不同的岛屿去。
Which is why we have the whale on the side of the canoe.
所以我们有画一个鲸鱼在这个船上。
So when you step on that canoe, you are riding that whale to your destination.
所以你上了这艘船呢，就好像你上了一艘鲸鱼，然后前去你的目的地。
We have our students, they come on board, they learn, they go through an educational program of not just sailing the canoe and not just navigation, but understanding the environment of the ocean.
所以我们的学生上我们的船呢，不是只有学这个海洋文化或者是传统的航海技术，他还要学习我们的文化。
And they go through different stages of qualification.
所以有不同的等级，不同的等级，学习的等级。
Some of them will go on to be maritime captains, and they can work in a real job, because voyaging is not a real job.
所以航海不是一个真的一个工作，但是他如果说一直升级的话，他可以变成一个海洋的一个船长，就可以找工作。
And so the idea is when they come on board, it's not just for the culture and tradition, but also to move on to the next stage so they can earn a living.
所以它不是只有文化跟传统，而是另一个等级，就是它可以自给自足，可以找工作。
So coming to Taiwan really moved me when I met, or when we met, many of you people here in this audience tonight. And we saw the canoes being built in Shangpi with this group here. We saw the tapala being remodeled and rebuilt on Orchid Island. We saw the big one that they're building, with all the carvers and the carpenters there lashing and building this canoe to get it ready to sail on to its next destination, to lift and uplift the culture and the people of Taiwan. We went and visited this gentleman in his home, in his traditional house, where he showed us his culture and what he is trying to achieve and wanting to achieve through his art and his craft. And to keep this part of his Taiwanese culture alive. We met with this gentleman here at the Hunter School. And I was moved by the concept of this school and the vision for bringing pride to the people of Taiwan. All of this, we went and we saw Santoy at his ground. Amazing. Aqua came out on the boat with us the other day. Amazing knowledge. There is so many knowledgeable people in this room that can and will make Taiwan proud. And every single tribe that you have. And it's all about working together. Understanding your role in the pathway that you need to take. So that our next generation, your next generation, has the same power that you have. Sorry.
所以他来到台湾呢，他经历过不同的他拜访了很多不同的团体，然后他看到造船，然后他也看到了不同的这些学校，猎人学校，还有闪会的阿美族，然后还有阿光老师，然后他很感动，就是说在这个房间里面，还有在台湾各地的这些领袖或者是领导，就是他们带领着我们做很多不同的东西，那他们也可以教导我们下一代，然后让台湾变得更好，那就是会让我们台湾变得非常骄傲的一群人。谢谢。
Heidi, what you and your husband have been able to achieve, amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Keep it alive. Your art is strong. And he's there. He knows. That's fantastic. So, I'm just going to share with you a summary of the places that we go to, where we've been, and how culture brings our vision and our hearts alive. This is when we took the voyaging canoes around Polynesia, and this is in the Marquesas Islands. So even though the canoes make it to these destinations, they have to get from one island to the other. So if the canoe is not strong enough and the crew are not prepared enough, they're not going to be able to deal with conditions on the ocean like these young kids did when they started their journey. We went through some very, very powerful and strong oceans.
所以我们的船只呢，从岛屿到岛屿，但之间呢，我们也经历过不同的海浪、海象，然后也有这样的暴风雨。那这些孩子们呢，都要有万全的准备，他才能够安全的到达他的目的地。
Some of these children had never been out on the ocean before in their lives, but they prepared themselves for it. So in everything you do, you must prepare yourself. Whether it be going into the mountains, building a house, understanding your art and your culture, or going out on the ocean, you must prepare yourself.
所以你必须 要做好准备，因为有些我们这些小朋友从来就没有到过海洋上，但是不论你是要上山，或者是你要做一些艺术品，你都是要准备好你自己。
So you use the sunrise, the sunset, the clouds, and the wind, and more so the stars, so you can connect with the communities.
所以我们怎么连接我们的社区呢？我们要不只是知道我们的日出日落，然后还有天象，然后还有我们的星星。
Connect to spiritual places. Every time we took the canoe to a different place, whether it be in Polynesia, whether it be in America, whether it be in Asia, we connected with the people of that land. And I just wanted to show you this footage sailing underneath the Golden Gate Bridge.
我们到每个不同的地方，美国、波利尼西亚或者是亚洲，我们都会跟岛屿上的、陆地上的人做连接。那这是我们经过这个旧金山大桥的样子。
Very powerful. When we sailed under the bridge, they didn't know we were coming.
很震撼力，那每天人都以为他们要来。
But when we came, we took our chants and our song with us. So in the chant, these young men were telling everybody, we will take on the challenge and we will rise to the occasion. Because we don't own the land and ocean, we belong to them. And while we're on this earth, we must look after it.
所以这个歌唱呢，就是我们的年轻人，我们说我们we're part of the ocean and the land， 我们是海洋跟这个土地的一部分，然后我们是这里的守护神。
And that's why we sail on our voyaging canoe. That's why you build your houses. That's why Santoy keeps the people that visit his island aware of what Taiwan is all about. Hunter, school, very, very powerful in what they do. Akwan, keep reaching for the stars. Everybody here, Heidi. Thank you very much. Sorry? Ishi. Sorry. I met you on day 1, so this is day 7. I've met so many people.
所以这就是为什么我们所做的事情，还有你们做你们所做的事情，就是要让台湾骄傲。
You know, when I look at this little girl, Moana, all she wants to do is be one with the ocean. That's why she wants to touch the ocean. And this little girl, when I see her with her shell, it reminds me of the spirit of Yaya and how she keeps going and she keeps wanting to do the people of Taiwan proud through this establishment and those that come from here.
所以这是摩纳，那摩纳就一直想跟海洋在一起，那吸性的就好像就是雅雅的精神，他一直不断的在探索、在学习，一直在发现。
So, in our canoes and in our schools, in our hunting, in our building, we can deliver a message to everyone else out there in the world.
所以不管是航行呢，或者是学校或者是盖家屋呢，我们就是有一个要对外界传 递的讯息。
We won't change the world.
我们不会改变这个世界。
But while we're doing this, we can connect with powerful people who can help us make a difference.
但是因为我们所做的事情呢，我们连接大家，然后我们把这个世界改变成不一样的地方。
Our Pacific people and our traditions teach us to venture beyond the horizon. Teach us to venture beyond the horizon.
所以我们太平洋的人民啊，就是互相教导，然后我们会不断的向这个地平线后面再继续挑战。
To connect and learn with each other.
对，互相学习，互相连接。
And that's why all of us here, if we put all our energy together, see, you live on an island. I live on an island. The earth is an island. We islanders know how to look after an island. That's why we must look after island earth.
所以我们把我们的力量结合呢，我是我的岛屿来的，你们是你的岛屿来的，但是地球也是一个想象中的岛屿，所以我必须要爱护我们的地球岛屿。
Thank you very much.
谢谢大家。有没有想提问的呢？我们的Mr. Pittman is open for questions. 想提问的 anybody?
Hello, Mr. Teuatakiri. I'm Yo. I'm from the Cultural Affairs Department of Taitung County, and my job mainly focuses on Austronesia cultural exchange. And my question is that I would like to know if there's no light, maybe in the dark, and you cannot tell where the star is, and how can we distinguish our direction? 就是我是在那个文化处工作的对，可以叫我右权，然后主要是负责那个南岛事务的。对，然后我想要问的问题是说，既然可以透过星星去看到那个船的不同的方向，那假如我们今天可能遇到台风，maybe if we encounter with a hurricane or typhoon, we can distinguish our direction through the stars. 就是我们要怎么样去分辨那个方向？如果我们遇到台风啊，或者是一些我们没有办法看到星星的时候，要怎么办？
Okay, I understand the question is, when there is a storm or total cloud cover, how can one find direction? Okay. When you go out and voyage, because you have memorized in your mind around 150 to 200 stars, and you understand the concept of the star compass. You want to translate that?
所以你已经当你做这个传统的航海的时候呢，其实已经熟悉了150到200个星星，然后有你的星空罗盘。
If you have total cloud cover and it's dark, even so, because you're out on the ocean, the cloud cover will only be there for half an hour to an hour because it just blows straight past.
因为你在大海洋上，那如果说这个全天空都要被乌云密布的话，最多只有30分钟到1个小时左右的时间。
If it doesn't, in that dark sky, sometimes a cloud will show, it will part, and a star will show itself. The navigator has to identify what that star is, where it came from on the star compass, so that we can align the canoe.
所以当这个天空的乌云稍微开启了一点点这个空间的时候，你就会认出那个星星，因为你已经背好了这个天空的所有的星星，你要马上把它反映出来说，这个在星空楼盘上是哪一个星星从哪里升起的，然后马上辨别你的方向。
If not, if you can't see any stars, when the sun went down, the sun goes down in the west. You look on the horizon, there's a long wave that is generated by a storm far, far away.
如果真的还没有这样子的机会的话，那太阳降落的地方，你会看到有一群海浪，然后它就会在那个海平面上，你会看到。
So when you see the sun going down, you see the long wave is coming onto your canoe. It hits the side of the canoe, goes through the canoe, and then travels away. So your canoe is going to go like this.
所以这个太阳下落的地方，会有海浪这样子推过来，然后你的船就会往左边这样子，然后被它撞击一下，所以你会感觉到。
That swell will stay there for 24 to 48 hours.
所以那个浪会24到48小时持续不断。
If during the night, the canoe is supposed to go like this. If during the night your canoe is going like this, that means you have turned and now you're going the wrong way.
所以海浪应该从这边过来的话，但是在夜晚的时候变成了像这样你的船是这样子在摇晃的话，那你就走错方向，你必须要再转一个方向。
So you turn the canoe back, so it goes like this.
所以你把你的船只再转回来，所以你的船才会这样子。
And if the stars come out, you can look at the stars and you can adjust.
然后等星星出来的时候，你就可以再调整你的方向。
I just want to tell you a story. I went to the island of Satawal
所以我想告诉你们分享一个故事，我曾经去过这个沙特瓦的小岛，
in Micronesia,
在密克罗西亚，
where my teacher lives.
在我的恩师在那边。
And we were going to be given the title of Master Navigator.
所以我的恩师就是刚刚那位毛，那他就是教导我传统航海技术的老师。
Canoes were arriving for the ceremony from around Micronesia.
所以密克罗西亚那就有很多不同的船只都到达。
One canoe arrived on the beach, and everybody went down to meet this canoe.
所以有一只船只呢到了这个海滩，然后大家都冲下去欢迎他。
And Nainoa Thompson, my other teacher,
奶酪汤臣是他另外一位老师，就是在刚刚照片右边的那位老师叫奶酪啊。
he said, that's Mao's younger brother.
奶酪啊说那个是毛的弟弟。
And Nainoa said, Mao said that he's a better navigator than him.
奶酪啊说毛说他是一个
The brother is better than Mao.
比毛更好的航海家。
And I said, how can anybody be better than Mao?
所以他就不敢相信，怎么会有比毛更厉害的航海家呢？
And he said, his brother is blind.
他说他的弟弟是失明的。
Blind.
失明的。
He doesn't use his eyes, he uses the feel of the waves from island to island.
因为他弟弟根本就不用他的眼睛，因为他是用他的身体去感觉，然后他还可以从岛屿到岛屿去。
So up in the gallery, in the exhibition, you'll see a compass that is in the display that shows the shells. Those shells are islands, and the long sticks are the direction of the swells relative to that island.
所以在楼上的展示厅里面，你会看到有一些贝壳，那贝壳是不同的岛屿，然后还有一些 sticks， 就是展示的物品是那个海浪的方向。
The Micronesian navigator memorizes that in their mind to remember which way the swells are coming from.
所以密克罗西亚里面的航海家已经把这些都已经熟背了，所以他们可以用来航海。
question is, when we're building the canoes, are they built under my supervision, or are there a lot of people there to build the canoes?
所以你当你造舟的时候，是你的supervision， 你是监督，还是大家一起合作来造这个船？
In our culture, and I think it's part of many cultures, you have the canoe builders, you have the fishermen, you have the sailors, you have the navigators. The canoes that we built is designed by the builder. All the crew members help to build the canoe, and the navigator is there to help supervise to make sure that the canoe is safe.
所以在我们的文化里面呢，我们有造舟的人，我们也有航海的人。那造舟的人是负责造舟，但是这些航海的人也会来就是做帮忙的。
And most of the time, anybody who touches the canoe becomes a crew member.
通常呢，如果你摸到了这个船呢，就是变成我们的船员。
Because if you're spending many hours touching, any human being would want to be a part of it.
当你花很多时间来摸这个船只的时候，你就想要就是成为这个船员的一份子。
And this is when you know you have a good crew member because their heart and soul is for the canoe.
所以他们的心灵跟灵魂知道他们就是为了这个船只，所以他们就可以变成我们的船员。
And their last challenge is the ocean. When people get on the canoe and go out to the ocean, sometimes the ocean says, no, 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 no.
那最后最大的挑战当然就是到了海上，那有时候那个海洋就会跟那个船员说 ，no no 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 no。
Because they can't handle the conditions, yeah?
因为这个海象对他来说真的。
And people ask me, how do you pick your crew? I said, I don't. The ocean picks the crew. Sometimes people go and they get very sick and they never come back.
有些人问我说，我怎么样挑选我船员呢？其实我不挑是海洋会挑我的船，因为他这个没办法习惯这个海象或者晕船。
And then sometimes you see the ones that go, they get sick, they come back, and then they go again. Then you know that's the one.
有些人呢是去了海上就会晕船，但是他回来休息后他又去，所以你就说那个就是我们要。
And then you get the ones, it doesn't matter where you go, they're there, they're the strong ones, they want to do everything, pull the anchor, climb the mast.
还有一些船员是他所有的事情他要做，他也要拉这个锚，他也要爬上这个杆啊。
They never learn anything.
那他们什么都不会学。
But they're very strong.
他们很强壮。谢谢，谢谢。
Can I answer my question?
Yes.
Hi, thank you for your talk. And I just wondering that I know there's a documentary called Our Blue Canoe. Because I saw it online, the trailer, only the trailer. I suppose you were there, right, for the trip, the whole trip, for 3 years, across the whole Polynesia. So I'm just wondering, is there anything I can find a full-length documentary Our Blue Canoe? Yeah, thank you.
Yes. The question is, there's a documentary up, well, there's supposed to be a documentary called Our Blue Canoe based on that long voyage that we did. The person who funded our voyage and the producers of the film had a bit of a conflict. the film was never completed. But
我们刚刚的问题就是，这个刚刚他那个长途的航行有没有那个可以贩卖的那个？
我来讲啊，那个有一部纪录片的预告片叫《Austronesia》，然后因为我上课的时候会播给学生看，只是它只有预告片。那预告片其实里面有蛮多素材都在刚刚那里面，蛮好看，预告片看起来很好看，可是我找不到，已经好几年找不到那个完整的机会，对，所以问他这个问题。
所以他刚刚是说那个制片人跟这个航海这些人团员这边还没有协调好，所以我问这个地方。
yeah, so you can try online to look for Temana or Temoana. Temana or Temoana, or another one called the Star Chasers. But again, I don't think they finished the whole. Well, they haven't finished the whole movie.
所以这个拍片并没有完全没有 finish， 所以不知道什么状况，可以在网络上搜寻看看。
There's also a site called Okeanos Foundation. Okeanos. Okeanos.
Hi. I would like to first thank you for bringing such an important message through your words and your many years of actions, and especially the presence. Because I feel like making connections, it's important to have presence. So you coming here, being present with us, I think opens up a point of connection. And also hearing you about the opportunity for the crew members and voyagers to, stop at Taiwan in 2026. That's another presence, which is a point of connection to Taiwan for us Taiwanese people. So I think I'm very grateful for the presence, and I'm in the field of education. And I heard about the fountain of knowledge in schools. And I feel like revitalization of traditional knowledge is very important, but you're revitalizing the knowledge in the modern world where these people, they may be interested in knowing the traditional knowledge, but they still have to keep their livelihood. They have to make a living. And so I heard you mention something about, they just bridge their knowledge, what they learn at school to, to sustain their living. So I'm just curious, what kind of opportunities are you talking about? So when we envision something like that in Taiwan to revitalize, this voyaging, traditional knowledge here, we have some models to follow. 我自己翻译一下。首先，我很感谢，很感谢杜老他来莅临，因为他的莅临，他的 presence 其实是很重要的，因为一个实体的存在莅临到现场，它是一个连结也很重要的一个点，因为刚刚提到连结是很重要的。那特别又听到他说，2026年这些船员是可以到台湾的，又是一个present 很重要的一个连接的点，所以我觉得这个对于台湾来讲是很重要的，所以它的存在，还有这些船员的存在，到台湾对我们来讲是一个 传统文化的当下也可以去生活。
Okay, great question. Over our years of voyaging, Peya and myself have managed to create a collaboration with some maritime institutes. So we were able to talk with them in terms of our foundation providing the groundwork for the students starting from a young age up until an age that they can qualify to move on to the next level.
所以我的搭档就是培亚，跟他就是我们的基金会呢会提供一些基础的课程，然后他们也跟一些海洋的一些机构合作，可以让他们这些年轻人先学到这些基础的课程之后，可以再衔接上去其他的课程。
So we teach them the groundwork, like being able to build a canoe, the physics and the science behind a buoyancy of a canoe, how to sail it, being aware of your ocean surroundings, the tide, the wind, the waves.
所以我们教导他们这个基础的这个造船的技术呢，还有一些物理上的一些知识，然后还有这个洋流啊、海洋啊这些基础的观念。
We teach them the next stage of leadership on voyaging canoes, to take control and to be in charge of other crew members, to be able to guide a canoe safely across the ocean.
所以我们也培养他们的领导能力，然后他们的带领船员可以在海洋上面发挥他们领导的才能，可以到别的岛屿上面去。
Then we touch on the navigational side, traditional navigational side of a voyaging canoe culture.
所以这个传统的航海文化呢，还有这个技术，我们也会稍微的谈到。
And then Peia, my counterpart, is a qualified maritime instructor.
那我的搭档的培亚是一个有认证的海洋的教学的老师。
Then we will move them from the cultural and traditional side of being on the ocean to the science of a maritime person.
所以他可以把这个学员从这个传统文化的界面移转到这个科学上面的。
Where they learn to use the instruments, learn to read the charts, and learn to plot a course in a modern sense.
所以他们可以使用仪器，然后设计他们的航行的路线，然后他们可以航海。
And then we source funding for them to move on to the qualification stage to be able to get a maritime ticket to a point where they can captain or supervise an ocean-going vessel.
所以当他们有这些技能的时候呢，他就等于是得到一张票，他可以再继续的学习，然后变成一个船长或者是其他的更高的。
Where they can earn a living.
所以他们就可以自己可以找到很多的薪水。
And they always come back.
他们也都会一直还回来。
And we've only just started. We have one gentleman who has come back to the society and has taken on one of those leadership roles, and we're very thankful for that.
所以我们已经有个学员，他已经回到我们协会来，然后就是从事我们的领导的，就是做我们的 leader 的这个职业。
So our goal is to continue this trend.
所以我们希望能够继续进行这样的事情。
We spent a lot of time voyaging for the love of voyaging, and you'll find that a lot of the master navigators are the poorest people on this earth.
我们因为热爱海洋、航海，所以我们航海。但是有发现，我们这个领航大师这个部分是非常贫穷。
But that's in monetary terms. But in cultural and traditional terms, we're the richest.
所以以金钱来衡量的话，我是贫穷的，但是我们的内涵、我们的传统文化是非常的 rich.
Yeah, but that's not a thing. It's we did it through how we feel and the love we have for our culture.
所以我们就是热爱我们的文化。
Hello.
One more question.
我要回应。非常高兴这个时间，我要回应是2013年，我们在大溪地的 Polynesia 的时候，应该是所有的凯诺的集合，我看见了他们的船跟我们台湾不一样，他们的船已经先进到可以用帆，然后用动力，他们有所谓的太阳能。我在想，这样的航海的印记，台湾确实提供了我们在南岛的这些岛屿，甚至我们的兄弟姐妹，航海更眺望、更前进、更进步。我们台湾阿美族，我们有一艘船，现在在上午在大武港，我们准备在10月份的时候，这艘船叫萨南亚赛，10月份要航行绿岛。我们真的用传统的帆来制作，但是我们是用竹子。可是竹子这件事情呢，它没有办法航行成为跳岛的工具。我们阿美族非常清楚，就像我们的在南岛的这些兄弟姐妹知道，船成为跳岛的工具，它可能是捕鱼的工具。可是现在他们这样的非常先进的船，已经变成是可以航行到非常遥远的地极。以海洋做路径的时候，我们发现这是在我们阿美族的传统里面一直存在的 DNA。我们用船成为我们的这个航海的工具，在以前还没有还没有任何陆地的交通工具以前，我们是用牛车没有错，可是它会有很多的问题，却我们的祖先发展了用航海。在台湾先天的条件，就像在大溪地一样，我们可以用很大的木头，在台湾不缺这样的原料，我们还有不缺的竹子，所以选择这2样成为我们造舟的这个工具，甚至我们的航海的工具的时候，台湾是有这样的先决条件，却被我们的兄弟姐妹广泛来使用。所以我发现刚刚有一个画面我非常感动，是女生的参与。我待会问一下Tua，早期在你们的传统里面有没有女生参与造舟？这第一件，这是阿美族是不行的，到目前一直不行。所以我们想说，为了要传承的时候，我们阿美族不能打破这个传统为了传承，是不是可以打破这样的限制？23号有幸接待了我们的Tua，让他认识了我们阿美族的海洋。其实我们阿美族的海洋的星宿的这些传统是有的，可是现在没有被记录，是因为在日据时代的统治的台湾，统治的阿美族是不容许航海的，所以我们的传统被覆灭是在日据时代，所以不容许我们航海。所以我们现在努力要复振它，是正当的开始。所以谢谢这一门课给我们启迪了一个非常远大的航海的梦，我们一起跟Tua来学习。 谢谢。
So we wanted to share with you that in 2013, you probably witnessed the canoes sailing to the community, and in that encounter, we discovered that the canoes are pretty advanced, and so they kind of motorized and with big sails. So he was wondering if he could just, it's really amazing to him that he is using his bamboos, and maybe he could use wood because we have ample plenty of wood in Taiwan. So we could choose between bamboo and wood as material for our canoes, but we have actually made a lot of attachments to make the canoe very good. So that was a challenge, and there's parts to his question. First part is for boat makers, you allow women to be boat makers or canoe makers. The second part is that we have restrictions on the materials that we use for canoes.
Okay, to answer the first question, do we allow women to come near the canoe when it's time for construction? Yes. The second question, for many, many years we've been building voyaging canoes as big as the one we have now, but they're getting smaller because of the availability of wood. Because of no availability of wood. But the canoes we have to, when we build a canoe of wood and all natural materials, its lifespan is very short. And the maintenance cost is very high. So what we did was we took the ancient designs the traditional culture of what we want to achieve and connected it to the science of today. It doesn't mean that you failed because you are now using modern equipment. It shows that you have the faith in the knowledge of your ancestors to step forward and do something that will last longer. This is why we use the modern materials that we can now. We're connecting our culture and tradition of yesterday to the science of today. Our ancestors were very, very smart people. If they had those materials in those days, they would have used it. And that's why we're using it now. And it extends the lifetime of our voyaging purpose. It is beautiful to be traditional. But it is also good to keep moving forward and not having any barriers.
My question is quite related to somebody else's question. Is among all the places Tua you have been to, especially those islands located in the Austronesian speaking people region. Is there any places like perhaps, I guess, Polynesia or Southeast Asia? Are there any places that is like Taiwan in terms of a place where the people have forgotten the canoe design, which is seaworthy, a term I learned from something with Voyaging. Yeah, because as you know, especially from this morning and also in the past week, in Taiwan, we don't remember what our seaworthy canoe could look like. It's not written in the documents. It's not found in archaeological site. But somehow we know our ancestors who lived on this island, they are very good voyager, but we don't know how the canoe looks like. And among the places we've been to, especially those in Australian countries, are there any places like Taiwan and how they solve the problem? 我试的地方，就是我问兔啊，就是兔啊去过这么多的地方，特别是说南岛语的地区，有没有任何一个地方像台湾？我预想的可能是美拉尼西亚或者是东南亚，岛屿东南亚，有没有像台湾？你有个想法，就是我们在台湾，我们相信以前在这里的人是很会航海的，但是现在我们某个程度不知道以前在这里的船长什么样子，没有被写在历史文件里，然后在考古上也找不到物质的遗留，可是我没有这么相信。那我们不知道那个船长怎么样，那突然没有去到南岛屿的地方，也像台湾，那他们怎么解决这个问题？
Thank you. Yes, there are islands that have forgotten their designs. Cook Islands is one. We have designs for our fishing canoes, which we can adapt to fishing, but we have no plans for large voyaging canoes. We have a history of voyaging canoes coming from the east, Polynesia, from French Polynesia, through Rarotonga and going to Samoa. And we have a history of large voyaging canoes coming from Samoa through the Cook Islands and to French Polynesia.
所以库克群岛呢，也是以往我们祖先航海的这种船只的岛屿之一。那但是我们有很多不同的记录，就是有大型的船只，它是从大溪地这边航行，经过库克群岛，然后到萨摩亚这边的船只，也有从萨摩亚出发，经过库克群岛到我们东方的船只，但是我们本身的船只也是。
Both these two island nations had different style of voyaging canoe.
所以萨摩亚跟大溪地的船只的这个造型都是不一样的。
And in our songs and chants, the majority of these songs talked about these types of voyaging canoes. There was nothing about a Cook Island voyaging canoe.
所以我们的不同的歌唱歌颂里面呢，都有谈到这些船只，就是萨摩亚跟大溪船，但他并没有讲我们库克船岛的船只长什么样。
So for us as a voyaging society, after we learned from Hokulea, we didn't want to build a canoe along the same design as Hokulea because that was a Hawaiian design.
所以我们是身为库克群岛的航海协会，那我们就是知道了这个后库雷亚的这个设计，但是我们又不想要完全跟它一样，因为那是夏威夷的航行的船只。
But in our chants and our songs and our genealogy, we came from Tahiti and we came from Samoa.
所以在我们的歌唱呢，我们的歌颂里面呢，我们的祖先的来源就是上摩亚跟大溪地。
So we use those designs
所以我们就用他们的设计
to build our canoes.
来制作我们的船只。
And that's why we have the canoe that we have now. The canoe that you saw there earlier, that I sailed around on, is a replica of a French Polynesian tipairua. It's a double-hulled canoe, the tipairua.
所以你刚刚看到我们的协会的船只是一个复制品，就是像法属波利西亚的双体船。
And because we have an ancestral link to that design, we use it, and the people of French Polynesia know that we're from there. The people of Samoa know that we're from there, and there's no problem.
因为我们有这个家谱，这个祖先的连结，所以法属波利西亚人知道我们是从他那边来的。然后大溪地对，他大溪地也知道我们是从那边来的。
But we did years and years and years of research to try and find our own design, and we couldn't find it.
所以经过多年的研究，一直不断的寻找，都没有找到顾客寻找自己的船设计的船。
Another example is New Zealand.
所以纽西兰也是另外一个。
Once they arrived in New Zealand, because their land was so big and so plentiful, they completely forgot about their voyaging ancestry.
所以这个就是南岛语系到了纽西兰的时候，因为纽西兰的土地这么大、这么广阔，马上他们就把航海文化给忘了。
But again, because their genealogy links all the way back to French Polynesia, they could use the same design.
所以纽西兰的南岛语系的人呢，他的祖父是连接到法属波利尼西亚岛屿，所以他可以用法属波利尼西亚岛屿的船只。
And that's why we have the canoes that we have now.
所以这是我们船只。
I think as a human race, we can adapt to what you have around you. I know you're doing a lot of research to find out your migration and the move to the connection with the Philippines and back again, and across from Southeast Asia to here and back. I wish you all the best in finding a design.
所以就是我们作为人类呢，我们必须要能够就是利用我们的环境，然后就要改变自己。那我知道那个育人呢，就是不断的在寻找这些研究啊，或者是寻找这个我们的迁徙的这个历史，就是祝你非常的好，也希望你能够成功。
But what you can do in this modern day, understand the conditions that you have around you, and design one that becomes yours.
所以可以根据现在这个状况，就设计适合我们自己的船只，那就是我们自己所谓我们的船只。
And that can encompass all the values of who you are as Taiwanese people,
所以把我们所有的台湾的传统呢，
indigenous people of Taiwan.
台湾原住民的传统都包含在。
It's something that works and is safe.
很安全，然后可以使用。谢谢。哦，阿光老师。阿光，it's your going to present you.
就是我以一个家人的身份准备2个礼物给图奥那个这个是我的祖先，还有我的老师教会我的东西，然后我在这个岛上学的东西，给图奥这个不同的纬度会有不同的西空罗盘夏威夷有夏威夷的，然后台湾有台湾的，库克群岛有库克群岛的，这是库克群岛的西空罗盘，而且是立体的，然后就给图奥。
I'd like to present this to you and this is your South Campus.
然后第2件，这个是全世界都可以用的。
This is universal or global?
你可以调日期、时间还有纬度，
In some time, they gave the time for that.
你就可以找到任何一个星星它升起的方位。
You can find the star where 它只不需要我们。
OK。
Thank you very much, Shaban. I heard about you before I came here. You did. And I was interested to hear or to see your invention, and I just want to say thank you very much. I will show all my master navigator brothers and soon to be sisters, and let them know who you are. And I'm very, very happy with what you're doing for your cause of mapping the magic of our ancestral sky.
所以我还没来到台湾的时候，我其实就有听说过，已经有广告过，他帮我算，然后他会把这个带回去跟他的领航大师们分享。那领航大师们，他刚刚有很快的提到，他们有在培养一些女性的领航大师，所以很快就会产生这个有些女性的领航大师。也谢谢你。
谢谢。This year will remain with our school, so all the students can use this.